Welcome to the first English episode of the Battlefield podcast. I'm Geert, this is Stef.
Good evening.
And together we are going to tell you wild stories about a completely insane world. So let's start with, what can we choose? There are so many things we can start with. What's this? Hello.
Let's start with the magnets.
What's this? Huh? What's this? Stupid things, you think? No, it's not stupid.
There's a fun concept going on that many people don't know about. Gravity normally goes pretty quick, but a magnet on a copper tube does not. And if you think it's friction because of the size, you have an iron ring here, and it just falls.
It speeds, huh? It speeds up. Huh?
It just
goes
goes
much faster than the magnet.
It's quite obvious. And even if you take a single magnet, it wants to float a bit.
Yeah.
It's making a magnetic field with the copper, which makes electrons go, which creates a magnetic field, which interacts with the magnet.
Magnetic fields.
But then, if we take the
Slowing
magnet,
down the
take the magnet,
influence of gravity. Yes, explain then how this, because this is two magnets, but Stef has put.
we'll do a bit of close-up later for
Okay.
editing. But the main idea, the North Pole is pointing with my finger. Same goes for this magnet. And they repel each other. And you can see it if I put them on the tube.
Yeah, they will not close up.
That's right. Yep.
It doesn't want to.
It does not until you push it through. And that's where the magic happens. So now, once this is your
Magic.
water, if your water goes through here, water is a micromagnet. It gets influenced by this magnetic field. And the fun part is that the North Poles together, they give a bit of they make a better benefit for the water for human consumption.
Yes, you told me that the North Pole attracted something and the South Pole rejected something.
The story goes that the North Pole adds electrons to the water,
Electrons, yeah.
and the South Pole might retract from the water.
Alright, so the electrons in the water is a good thing for us. Why?
We need strom.
Strom, yeah.
We need
Current.
current. Currency is what makes, currency is also a thing that we need to, what's the best word to put it? Not, I want to say electricity, but electromagnetism is of course two sides of the same coin. That's the whole thing. We can see the magnet, but we don't see the field. And the same goes with atoms, they can see the nucleus, but the electrons are somewhere in the field.
Yeah, they cannot really see the electrons on
Yes,
sich, so to speak. Yeah.
And basically, if you want to go way down to dirty quantum biology,
Yeah.
mitochondria strip down electrons from the carbon to generate our bodies. So if you have water with more electrons, mitochondria make then they basically water. In that whole process, electrons are the main driver for energy.
Yeah.
Our system.
And we
For
need
ATP
we need that electronic energy because our brain is working on it. We're making neuron bridges when we're experiencing things, when we are to remember things. So, but it's more. The field is all around us. It's not only the brain; it's also the body, and the magnetic field is even so big that it is. The Earth has a magnetic field. All the other planets have a magnetic field, and the whole fucking solar system has a magnetic field, and the whole enchilada.
It's a field within a field within a field.
Field
within
in
a
field in field.
That's how they make the holograms with different angles of fields, basically, with electromagnetic waves. And at some point they condense enough, that they're thick enough to make them visible for the human eyes. And then basically those two eyes, not the first eye, the one in the brain, the
Go
important
on
one.
in the brain.
But basically, if you look at light, it's a particle, it's a wave, it's a duality.
Yeah,
creating
you
space-time
know it.
on its movement. So it's the whole thing together, and that's why we can't really grasp the whole. Right, it's a magnet with the field. It's not one of the other.
No,
And that's the whole. Yeah,
it's both of the things. Yeah.
yeah, that's hard.
It's like
to,
with
grasp.
good and evil or chaos and order. It
Yeah.
cannot exist. The one cannot exist without the other.
No.
When there is no darkness, where is the light going to shine? When there is no light, in which where is the darkness going to lay his shade in? You know, shade, the shadow. Right? So there's always yin yang, but also with electromagnetic fields, and especially with north-north, we have done something which is not natural, yin-yang. So we create another sort of...
It's quite counterintuitive.
Yeah. Yeah, but when you project an electromagnetic wave onto an object, and you can produce a counter wave, there is no wave anymore. Everything is gone. So maybe here with the magnets, something similar is happening. I don't know. The rejectance, the force that keeps the north poles out of each other at a certain distance with the iron ring is neutralized. It's gone.
Basically, the magnet creates a magnet out of the iron ring, so it creates a north and south pole. That makes it possible to attract the other magnet's north pole, which, if you put 3 magnets in a row, they will still stick. If you go for 4 or 5 magnets, they will repel. So the repulsion becomes more than attraction.
Yeah.
So there's a certain maximum in this case, but at home I have a contraption with 11 of these magnets north-north to each other, and then the water flows through.
Yeah, the stuff of Ra, you know.
Yeah, but that's just, the thing that I did doesn't really mean it has to be that many or in that certain order. I'm playing with it, I'm finding my way through it. It's new for me as well, but it's information that I do want to share it with everyone who wants to.
Yeah, because
It's a new thing.
I like
new
it
model.
when you were here before, but it was in Dutch. Not many people speak Dutch, so we're trying to do some episodes from our series Slagveld, which is called Battlefield in English.
Welcome to the battlefield.
Welcome to the battlefield. Voilà. And before you had the what was I going to say?
The magnets I had before, the big ones?
Yeah, the big ones, yeah. So when you put them on it's like the copper staff, and you put more magnets on it, it has some strange, not an interference, but like a coupling. Because I tried it, I will take it a moment. This is not Steph's way. This is me being rebel. Yeah. So what did I do? I put all these magnets together, but in the center you have the iron ring. This one is north against north, but polarized south against south here, and south against the from the ring seen second magnet, and then it goes backwards again. Here there is a iron ring, and we have north against north again. This thing, a friend of mine came here and he said, I will take it off the staff. Don't do it. It was just like that. They were trying to repositioning. It's just, a power which is much more powerful than we think, but it is also underestimated, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's always been what's the word? Ondergeschoven, Not depressed, but more made fun of. Like the field. It's only there if you see it, but where's your Wi-Fi? It's a simple one. You don't see it, but it's there. Well, that's the same with the magnets. And I was just playing around with them from my chemical background. I was trying to look how fundamental I can go to find out what makes life life. And then you go to water. And from my experience with water, it's a dipole magnet. So basically it's a micromagnet. That's why if you have a drop of water, one droplet, it's spherical. Because the magnets attract each other and they keep them together.
Yeah. So you have the field.
Well, they morph based on the field that's combined with all the magnets. So that's a quantum magnetically created field of all the sum of all little magnets.
The sum. Yeah, because we're talking at this level on a level which is micro. Not. I think we cannot see this with our own eyes.
Well, molecular-wise, you mean?
Yeah. Maybe a microscope or something.
There's a few techniques which make things possible, but the problem is many times it's always just a snapshot. So
because it's a movement.
It's always a movement system. There's one great video, an experiment. You take 2 cups of water, glass beakers, put them just next to each other, and then you put a current on it. At some point you will form a bridge of water from one container to the other. Then they checked it with thermodynamics. That was fascinating because there's flow going both ways, going quicker than the flow of water itself, but you don't see it. It's fascinating. We'll put a video there in the link or whatever, but man, that just blew my mind. And that's years ago, and from there on out I started just doing, what's water? It's interesting. And to me it was taught to me, water is just water, man. It's a solvent.
Water,
you can drink it and that's it.
Yeah.
But it's quite magical.
This story actually reminds me of the story that an experience I had, and it's about quarks. I found out they can make pictures of quarks, the movements of quarks under stress. They shoot the quarks at tremendous speeds. They ram into each other. And next to the tube, the Large Hadron Collider, they have bubble chambers. And in those bubble chambers, there is liquid. I don't know if it's water, but there is a liquid. And in that liquid, the trails of the movements of the particles, which are not only inside the tube of the Large Hadron Collider, but also outside, can be photographed. And I have photographs of that, and I will publish it and put it in the podcast.
Pretty
and
close.
That's pretty close because that's a level we cannot see. But the liquid, and I don't know if quarks are magnetic, but well, there are some. I don't know. Is it the?
I've always had a problem with the whole CERN thing based on one thing and one thing only. If I take 2 similar glasses, I throw them at each other. Don't matter how quick or how hard, but I'll throw them at each other, and I'm going to look at the fragments. Every fragment is going to be slightly different. I'm going to interpret them like, these are the big ones, and these are the small ones, and these are this one and those ones. But it's from the same thing, and that's why it's an endless. They're never going to find what they're looking for because it's not there.
No, but I found what I'm looking for. Because in those trails of, but this is surprising. In those trails of the quark thing, I start to work with it, and I made like when you're young, and you have the butterfly thing. You have to put some paint on one side of the paper. You make it like this on each other, and you fold it open back again, and then you have a form. You can do the same with those pictures of the which are taken in the bubble chamber of quarks, which are moving around at tremendous speed and are in fact trying to reorganize themselves. And the thing is that what you see is animal forms. Animal forms, really, animal forms.
Sure.
It is organic forms. that you see in the trails they leave. And that's very important, I think so, because it's a connection between this micro world, which we cannot see, and between our world, which can then be bridged by here. The field.
Back to the field.
Back to the field.
The field is spherical like a torus, but the manifestation of matter in this field is based on the crystallization structure.
The crystallization
and
structure.
The possible crystallization structure based on the molecules themselves.
Yeah.
On
And the
most fundamental
patterns.
level in matter.
Yeah.
So it's always in the same field that it has a potential. That's why every creature is the same. Eventually we go to star shape, you know?
Yeah.
2 feet, 2 arms and a head, because it's the most efficient way. And that's how
The
spherical-
drawing of Da Vinci. Which,
So back to the molecules, if you have a molecule with certain atoms on the side, it might interfere with certain chemical reactions because of sterical hinder.
Yeah.
Sterics hindering, I think sterical hinder. Basically,
hysterical. Yeah,
basically if I have like a really big arm, you're not able to hinder me on this side. So that's your hinder, you have to go around, so it makes it harder to just have that reaction.
Yeah.
And that principle goes into everything that we know. The wood that's been crystallized, it's carbon dioxide that we've breathed it out, breathe it out, and it just condensates in front of you, but we don't see it. But it goes over time, it's crystallization layer for layer.
Only when it's cold.
Oh, the breath. I mean, the growing of a plant is also layer for layer, of course.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You have. Of
That's
course,
what we just, exhale.
Mhm.
That's the magic part. You just don't think about it, and a bit later, there's more plants. Where did it come from? Yeah, because we did our duty.
Yeah.
We created carbon dioxide.
Yes, because we created carbon dioxide. Yes, without carbon dioxide, there is no plant life on this planet. So it's all one. It's all in connection with each other. And of course, if we are going to cut off every tree who is standing on this planet, then it is all not so good story. But we are in connection.
We do need air.
We need air. Because if the trees are all gone, the carbon dioxide we exhale will kill ourselves. Let's do it.
Eventually.
Eventually we'll kill ourselves. If we don't have an oxygen factory on this planet, the trees are the oxygen factory.
As above, so below. Humankind, the Western people, we are acidifying ourselves because of the way we eat, the way we do not breathe properly, and the environment that we live in, but we're not aware of the pollutants. The same is happening to the earth because we all do it every day, just to generalize. And that eventually is going to reflect to the whole, as above, so below. Also, so below is going to be so above. So if we do it on a small scale, at some point it's going to be in big scale. And just with disease, if you pile up your acids, your metabolites over time, you will die.
Yes.
That's how it
It's
works.
all chemical connected with the fields, which are influencing the chemical process on a certain level.
Electrochemical, you could call it.
Yeah, electrochemical. Yeah. Because you can, the acids in your body, it's a pH. Something about that too. That you can.
pH drives the body. Like your blood, the biggest part of your big part of your blood is sodium bicarbonate. That's a buffer. That's how you survive. Because if your blood pH goes too low or too high, above 7.35 or 7.445, it's debatable. But it's quite narrow. If you go too low or too high, you get septic, your blood poisoning. That's no good. Same goes for every cell that you have. In that cell, there's 10,000 organic reactions or biochemical reactions per 10 seconds or whatever. A lot. Every reaction generates metabolites. Many of those metabolites is carbon dioxide that needs to go out through the lungs. And about 80% of the carbs that you eat forms carbon dioxide. So basically you're pressurizing your body and you need to exhale the...
Exhale, because otherwise you would
overpressure.
just explode.
Well, that's the beauty of the body. It has a
I have to
it
fart.
has a mechanism.
Yeah.
And if you know Medusa,
Medusa.
you become concrete, cement. So what happens if you generate too much carbon dioxide, you acidify, and the emergency brake from the body is have some calcium from your tissue, and it forms a precipitation, and that's what you can knack, you know? That
Okay.
stuff is basically cement.
Cement.
And then you put it back into dissolvement, it's dissolved again, and then it's your job to make it, you know, push it all the way through to the lungs,
Yeah.
tissue, breathe it out, and then you balance the pH again. It's all in the breath.
Yeah.
Living well is in your breath. That's how spirituality comes about. But that's,
Yeah.
as we said before, it's a new religion. Spirituality
Spirits,
is all about
That makes-
breathing.
Because if we have no oxygen, we just drop down and we suffocate.
Yeah. Then you die and get happy chemicals, and then you get spiritual.
Yeah, and then you get very spiritual.
Because you've done the last breath, and that's the most spiritual one.
Well, yes,
And the
So-
most dangerous one, what do you call that?
it's a nice,
Terrifying one. For many.
nice, terrifying one. All right, yeah.
That's how we get back to fear, though, if you want to go there. You know,
Fear,
the amygdala.
yeah. Fear. Yes, yes,
If your
yes.
amygdala is triggered, your
Yeah.
body is in fight, flight, or fight, so you're always on edge. That
On edge,
means your
yes.
body needs to be ready to do stuff. So,
Yeah.
you know, your energy is going, you're creating much of carbon dioxide, but you're not
You're not
using the
breathing
belly
well.
properly, so you're not
Using the belly.
ventilating properly, so your pH is going to drop, so your body is going to react, so people might faint. And that's what happens if you just keep on, you know, tensing up your body. At some point, you 99.
And binaural beats.
That's
Ah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit. Well, binaural beats is a thing that take two frequencies into your headphone, and the difference between them is the one that your brain is going to perceive of. So if you take 1,000 and 1,007, for example, your brain will take on the 7 hertz, and then you can go lower in vibrations that you normally will not
Not
be
here.
aware of. So people can get into trance-like states real quick, and it's also a thing that's coupled with the force. It's a certain frequency, it's a certain vibration that you create. But there's always a fun thing that many people start talking about vibrations. It's a vibration. So what's a vibration? Vibration is something that stuff does. It's not a thing. So then, quantum mechanically, there's a nice article about carbon-60. Buckminster Fullerene, if I say it rightly, it's like a buckyballs they call them. It's a soccer ball, football, in the Netherlands. 60 carbon atoms in one, solid structure, we would presume. And they did the double slit experiment with it, and afterwards they got the same result. It's a pattern. It's not,
Yeah, I
two
saw
sides
that.
of a-
Yeah, I saw that.
So
The
it's
movie.
also
Yeah.
a particle. It's an energetic, how we would say, information package, which is just information. It's not really doing anything.
No.
And we also you can go deep into when is something moving. The torus field, Victor Schauberger's way of energy is always tumbling, falling around over itself. And then we get to the whole feng shui. It's also very famous, of course, through the world. Everything's about the flow of how energy moves, and we basically use that. Everything goes from A to B, linear.
No,
And as I said before, there ain't no right lines in this world. Everything goes on an angle, and if you get the right angles, you're gonna make the curve like a corkscrew in a roller coaster.
Yeah.
You don't go went two sides because then you're just pretty messed up in your seat. You gotta get the flow going. And once you get the flow going, you can keep using that momentum. That's how crystal works.
Yeah.
Like the crystals you have, the big ones. Electromagnetic fields can be condensed in that crystalline structure, and then it just if the structure is right.
Very
It's
interesting.
an amplifying thing, of course.
Yes.
Similar to the pyramids, it amplifies on the inside. It's pyramid. It's
Yeah,
fire in the
pyramids,
middle.
Fire in the middle.
So
yeah.
the energy bounces on the sides and comes to the middle. And that's how
And
your
that's
standing
just,
works.
in fact, the point on the crystal, not the, how do you call this, the stones, but the real natural shaped crystals with a point. It's also a little bit pyramid thing. It's not the Egyptian pyramid, but it's naturally formed. A real crystal is not cut for me. When you have a stone which is cut, and then there is a point it doesn't work with me, it doesn't feel the same.
No, I know what you mean. It's that natural shape. That's the thing, we denaturalized our whole environment. And now we wonder why we're so diseased, because we're not at ease anymore. But we can't be at ease because it's never good enough. More, bigger, better, better. Oh man.
Yeah.
That's the problem with the human brain. We chase our tails day in, day out, and then we wonder, oh man, why I'm so tired.
Yeah, why I'm so tired.
But you can't take a break because you need to make that money. Because we know this.
That's the system, the system. I think it starts with somewhere after the Hindu society, which is described in the Vedas, because you have a description of interstellar war with spaceships and well, and then there is a big time of destruction, and after that somewhere, the Egyptians, Freemasons, the Romans. I think they have some influence of which I call reptilians, and they don't need spaceships. They can come here via reincarnation, a sort of controlled process, which is otherwise cosmic process, free process from all planets. Souls come here to reincarnate, but the reptilians, they find our planet, which we are momentarily living on, Earth. Into sound. Interesting. Because we're an outback planet. We are at the end of the, if I understand well, we're really at the, almost at the frontier of the Milky Way.
Yeah, but quite I believe.
So, in the middle of the Milky Way, there is much more planets with life.
Well, starting life, or
and
trying to start life.
Well, so that's the way I can say that the cosmic reincarnation stuff, if it's really happening, and if we're talking about reptilians, then all this knowledge about electromagnetic field, how to program people without a computer, it's them. You understand me? It's like the Vatican and the Freemasons and the Adel, how do you call that in English?
Elite.
The elite, These are illusionary fake institutes which they have created to protect their bloodlines. So, in this time where we live in, we as human beings are holden by dark forces, which you can disagree, I don't care, but which I think can have an alien origin, because
depends on how you look to the word alien.
Yeah, it's not so alien, because then you and me also have been alien, and we have a life on planet Dracu, and we have a life on the Pleiadians, and blah blah blah.
Meaning of the word, like extraterrestrial. Terra, is that what we've mapped so far that we know of? So if we would have a continent that we just don't know of, or even a little island that someone from there came here, he's extraterrestrial to us. So he's alien because he's not known
or an insect somewhere on a little island that we don't know about.
Being here, so it's just it's a way of interpreting things, I believe. And at the end of the day, we talked about astrology. Every star has a bit of an electromagnetic field, and that total quantum field build-up is basically your starting point when you're born, which we call your soul or your starting spark or whatever. But that's your first breath you take in, so you breathe in the matter here containing the energetic state of whatever is there.
It's all a different program
like
than
a blueprint starting point. And then I could go think that if the Earth with the solar system goes through a certain piece in the big circle, the Kali Yuga,
Yeah,
depending on the stars
yeah.
nearest,
Yeah.
that star will have influence on the people,
Yeah.
the sorts of
Indeed,
people
yeah,
being
yeah,
born
yeah,
there. So that will be the way of having more breakers at
Yeah.
some point, or more players, or whatever they call them, or
Yeah,
Series B, Series A people.
There's many
There's a
races
mixture
out
of
there, but
everything.
indeed, when we, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, this is our solar system, all influenced by the sun. All the planets are turning around our sun. But our sun is actually turning around a bigger sun, a bigger star. And that's not like all in circles, but there is ellipse.
Yes,
Ellipse, elliptic. So that means that sometimes we are farther away from the big star, and sometimes we come closer. And if that star has more mass, more radiation, more gamma rays, more electromagnetic field, which is more powerful than of our solar system, our sun, then it can have a difference. The influence can difference, because sometimes the star is far away. There is almost no, there is lesser influence, and then it's closer, there is more influence. So,
like our seasons.
like our seasons.
Close to the sun, you're warm, and hey, who knew? Eric Briggs has a lot of videos about it, that space is why it's called. I don't know what it stands for exactly. It's the International Space Magnetic Fields from the Earth from a distance. If the Earth moves in space, it traces field lines, and they're normally linear.
Yeah.
And nowadays, since a few years, there's like a squeezing. So there must be a big magnet somewhere around, or we're heading towards something, like you were saying,
A big star with
big
a
star containing all of
much-
our solar systems, or
much-
maybe
yeah.
a big black hole, or whatever you call it. Yeah, something
Yeah,
very
after
cooling.
it's done, okay. No, a big black hole, but yeah, it's possible, but
Well,
I like
black
to
hole
believe.
sounds dangerous, but
Yeah.
it's making matter energetic machine again.
yeah, but when you go inside, it will be terrible, I think. So this, all this cosmic thinking, all this consciousness, like we are talking, how can you reflect that on the things which are happening right now on this planet? Because for as far as I'm concerned, I've been locked down, imprisoned for a year and a half now, and maybe not really physically, because physically I don't really care. I just wear the mouth mask when I go to the shop, because I don't want to pay fees. But imagine the psychological damage that it has done, the psychological impact, maybe not damage with me, but with children, impact. How can we, all this knowledge, how can we put this in relation with which is happening right now?
Fear mongering, man. That's what's happening right now. People are in fear. There's a whole cascade of biochemistry that doesn't really work the way it normally works. So you're not healing. Your immune system shuts down. Your frontal cortex is not activated, because that's the thing that you use to think logically. Then it's just based on that primal emotion. The first three chakras, might people call the first base endocrine systems, your adrenals. What's that one? The testes, and
That's Greek.
another one, not the spleen. Well, a few endocrine ones. If you can't reach the higher ones, so your heart and then eventually your brain, you will never get to that place of, first of all, calmness, because that's with your breath. If you're calm,
That's this chakra, your breath is here.
yeah, your solar plexus, everything. Mine is pretty fucked up because I broke it 20 years ago as a kid. My bone is shifted. That's what gave all that stress in my life. And at some point, a few years back, It's the first time I let go and my chest started expanding again. And once you do that, you become aware that you are a breathing machine, made here to breathe. And if you breathe properly, that's when you get that, mind over matter state.
Yeah.
It goes deep. It's a long story, but you want to exhale your overproduced metabolites, which are mostly carbon dioxide, because otherwise you'll acidify. And if you do that properly, you don't really get ill, but hey, that's why they don't make any money on you. So it's
yeah, you have to
dangerous
get,
information.
Yeah. This is
it's all about the breath.
The men in black are coming. But no, it's like that.
It's giving and taking, by the way, from the total. You give a little bit, and whatever you give back is the energy that you give in your surroundings, and then you go do all the Masaru Emoto work in water, how that,
No, like when you put it that way this afternoon with the carbon dioxide, it was like, okay, I take the oxygen and I give back the carbon dioxide. So it's not really giving and taking, it's a process which is this win-win situation, that is nothing symbiotic, yes. Yeah.
You gotta live with your host instead of against it. That's what we've been done for years. A little bit of weed somewhere, that's sprayed with glyphosate.
Oh yeah.
But the worms die. 2 years later, you get
pesticides.
You want a quick fix, but there's going to be a big problem in the end.
Yes,
well,
because
in the end,
84% of the insects, like the population of the solitary bees, is already gone compared with the 80s. In Bayern, I have done a study because I have been busy in the past with building bee hotels. The solitary bees, they also produce honey, but they are the prophets of the honey bees. Yes, so if something is wrong with the solitary bees, after a while it will also become a problem for the honeybees. And the solitary bees, 84% of them is gone by pesticides. The honeybees, they are dying en masse because they are too weak to fight the system off against the little mite thing, the little...
Paul Stamets has some good work in that. What? Paul Stamets' work? Paul Stamets, he's an American mycologist.
It's also about the bees? It's also about the bees?
Yeah, he found that, let me think about the story correctly here, but basically a certain fungi excretes like chemical stuff that the bees can use to fight off the mites.
Yeah.
And those fungi grow on certain trees that I believe bears have to scratch first. So that's where animal first and a smaller animal and everybody profits. So if you take out the bears, you don't get the fungi. And the bees will die off because they can't fight off anything.
It's
he
incredible.
found those little things and it's mind blowing.
Mind blowing. It's incredible. We have a paradise here. We have a wonderful planet.
It's already here. We fucked it up.
And we are fucking it up. We
That's
fucked
dopamine.
it up.
That's dopamine.
Dopamine. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah, it's nothing to do with drugs, because if you as a man. If you see a woman with naked legs and nice formed body, dopamine, you cannot revolt it, you cannot withstand it, it's working, because it's evolutionary thing. Because we have to procreate, so it's very difficult to fight against your nature, of course. And if they use that against you, if they create a society where lusts and the dopamine, immediate bevrediging,
immediate gratification?
Yeah, what are we doing then? Because all the food, the hamburger in McDonald's, is the same, it's the dopamine. What are we doing?
Expectations for something that you thought would be that good, but because it's that quick, you will want it quicker or even more of it to satisfy.
Yeah.
That's how things get out of hand, and at some point you're addicted. So we're all addicted, otherwise we're dead. But it's just it's a stigmatized thing. Oh, you're addicted. Well, yeah,
it's
addicted
the
to
art
life.
of being addicted we're talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Not too much, but
Yeah, but in a general sense, if
I cannot stop breathing.
if you're addicted to safety and you're only going to sit inside your whole life, if you live,
No. But
That's
that's different.
if you want
level.
safety, you have to give in freedom. That's the thing.
Yeah, but that's another level than talking about. Because people will argue like that. Yeah, but when you stop breathing, you fall dead. Of course, but you don't fall dead when you.
Breathe.
No, no, but when you start living your life and say, oh,
Yeah, you don't want to be stuck on a place. 'Cause
Yeah.
you want to just solidify. And,
it's you're in a box and you're fearful, but
That's
you
what
can
I
open the box and you can go out. You cannot open the box on the level of I'm going to stop breathing because 5 minutes later you're really out of the box and out of the game also. So there's levels. And that's very important because it's the same with everything, with UFOs, with spirituality. You have to order everything, and that's the fun thing, I think. Because the chaos, it's not frightening me. It's a thing that I can order, something that I can.
part of life.
Part of life, yeah.
That's the thing with not frightened of the smallest things. Stuff I was going to say. The smallest things in life.
Insurance,
Scared of it.
insurance. Yeah.
Yeah, but just paying your bills is one of the biggest scares that people have in the back of their
but
mind. all day.
insurance,
Oh, man.
All my life I paid for insurance for my car. I never had an accident. If I had never paid insurance, I maybe had €25,000 on my account now. I mean, this is crazy, because what do? They justify it also, like for the jab, for the corona. But you have paid for the other people. You have done it for the society, for the others.
You're a good citizen.
Yeah, you're a good citizen.
You'll get social
Um,
credit score
Yep.
plus.
Like in China.
So that's good. You have you have a big head start there.
So what? We have had blah blah blah. Yeah, maybe to finish this because he's from the Netherlands, Brabant. Yes.
North Brabant.
North Brabant, very very important because otherwise he takes his sword and I am from Belgium here, Waasland. The difference in dealing with the situation as people. So the people from the Netherlands, they're like more open and they want to talk about what's wrong and they criticize their politicians much more than we here do as Flemish people. Here it is, in my eyes, it is a little bit like really dogs. You have to lead them, otherwise they don't want to live for some. But then you go, it's crazy, 60, 70 kilometers further south, and there you have the French-speaking people of the Wallonie, and they also don't want to be injected, they don't want to have the jab. It's crazy. How do you see this situation?
The whole jab thing.
Yeah, and that it is different. Not only the jab thing, but the fact that in the Netherlands there is podcasts, hundreds of podcasts. Here in the Flemish part of Belgium, I don't know, 2 or 3.
Yeah, I think that Dutch people are passive aggressive. We're forming a unit, I think, with the people that just are fed up with the whole scam, basically, because it's playing with numbers. It's not very nice.
Mhm.
It's not very pretty, and it's all provable. But that's another story. But there's let me think about it. The people standing up are getting united,
Mhm.
but the government, them or whatever you want to call them, are implementing rules to keep your people separated.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
no
that's
more than
right,
3 people at home or whatever. But at some point, you'll have that tipping point that enough people go, I'm not taking part of this anymore. And that's what happened in my hometown. I live nearby Breda.
Mhm.
There's enough people just to go do about their day, change their life back to normal, like some states in the US have done, I believe. But the problem is if that
Yeah.
overwhelming force, what we call government, is parlementier,
Yeah,
dark
parlementier.
and light.
Yeah.
That's not a
yeah.
word.
Okay.
As long as they keep just doing what they're doing and we keep following, like we keep going into the same hole. We keep digging it bigger. Bigger, better, bigger. No.
Mhm.
It's a bigger hole, you fall harder, it's harder to come
Yeah.
out. We gotta just quit for a minute, think logically, which you can only do without the stress, and that's
Yeah.
why the breath is so
Yeah.
important. So
Yeah.
I just, I want to tell people, find that belly of yours, use it, and become aware that there's 2 breaths going on. That's why schizophrenia, we've divided in your phrenic. Your phrenic is your phrenic nerve, it's what controls your chest, your top of breath. And if you have a small phrenic, you have a small intelligence. So if someone's not that smart, you call them oligophrenic. So make more awareness in that little bit, and the rest will follow. It's amazing what happens. But it's a tricky one because like many people might know the Kundalini yoga. If it happens without noticing it, and it just takes off, you might get pretty surprised.
Yeah.
But it's the same with ayahuasca or magic mushroom. Whatever people have done, if you've taken a bit too much, or if you have not enough knowledge to go there, you might scare. And then we go all back to it, and you get fighting again.
Yeah.
And it's,
Well,
it's
if
an
I
ongoing
might
thing.
add, it's also the fact that you have to be empty. If you do something like that, if you take ayahuasca or mushrooms or whatever, you have to be empty, because if you are not empty, and there it comes, the plant will make you empty, and that's a very painful process, you know. And some people cannot be empty. This is this society, this matrix, and they ask help from Mother Ayahuasca, and it's a really not so pleasant experience for them.
I've heard it can be a tough ride.
For me, it was not being between all the people who were lying there, because they were having weird experiences. I went outside and put myself with my back against a tree, and I became the whole forest. It's not really a forest here in Belgium, but a bosken. I don't know how to call that. A group of 500, 600 trees. But you'd be surprised which consciousness they can.
Organism, environment, put them together. You are in your environment. You are your environment. That's when the magic happens.
Yeah, it's like quantum
It's like life
computing.
gives you back without you wanting it. It's already there, but you've never noticed it. Because we're all up in here. I want this, and it's all there.
Quantum computing. We can make a quantum computer with people. 5 people in the room, all have their programming and their experiences and their way, very, very important, to view things. So this means that the 5 processors have different views on the stuff which is going on.
Sure.
That's quantum. If you put one processor, the one processor only has one view. It can only operate in. The quantum processor can learn out of the views of the other processors and even generate, if I interpret it right, a new kind of logarithm, logica. So you can do this with animals when you go hunting with animals, and you can do this with trees, I think, with plants also.
Quantum
trees are
biology,
special.
man.
Yeah.
So if people want to know, check out quantum biology. It's redox, reduction, oxidase, or oxidation from chemicals to energy, and that's how we live. It's an amazing
A process in which we,
topic, I would say.
yeah, in which we have a consciousness which we share with everything. It's not that we are, yeah, for me, a tree is conscious also.
There's always a discussion of what is consciousness, what is whatever. It's all it is. Hey, we're back there.
Yeah, but there is
Everything is go become.
pheromone and waves. WY, what is that? Waves that are the trees are communicating with that. If you go to a tree in a forest and you start cutting it down, they are communicating by their roots and by a kind of chemical which they leave that there is danger. And there is also, I have a book about that. If I find it back, I will post it. There is also an experiment they have done, and they have 2 rooms with each the same sort of plant in, 2 different plants, and then you have staff here, and he plays good cop, and I play bad cop. So first, for a week or 2 weeks, staff has his plant, I have my plant. I burn the plant, his leaves, I piss in the plant, I swear to the plant, I say it's ugly, bad thing. And he does the opposite. He's taking care of the plant, he says, I love you. Then after 2 weeks, they changed. So the person, which is the bad cop, went to the plant that the good cop had taken care for. He came in the room and the plant was like, oh no, I'm ugly. So they had a connection, they were both in different rooms, and there was nothing connecting their roots. The only thing which explains it is a field, a conscious field.
But we're not aware of it because we cannot see it with these 2 eyes, but the one inside, the first eye, that's the one that's more important. Well, more important, it's the whole thing together. But
Yeah.
that's the thing that we've missed for years and years and years, so now we need it. It's important now. If you want to get back on track on this life, become one with your one eye, your first eye. That's important. Otherwise, it's going to be psychotic. Shame.
So I think for a first try in English, this is not bad. Huh?
Give it a go.
We're gonna put images in it, and yeah, next time we're going to have President Biden here with handcuffs. So please keep on looking to the Battlefield podcast. It's nice to be able to speak to more people than the people we only share our language with. Je peux le faire en français aussi, hein, mais alors, on va commencer en anglais.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Bientôt.
À bientôt.
Cheerio.